So you put down some stats that you pulled from ESPN's Next Gen on our O line, and I think it's fair to say universally next season the offensive line has the biggest question mark around it because they didn't play great last season. As of now, it's all the same guys from last season, more or less.
They're running it back for sure.
They may add in the draft, but again, as of now, no first or second round pick, so it might not be any big splash or anyone really expected to start out of the gate. Maybe not, but
who knows?
You generally don't think a third, fourth, or fifth round pick will start day one, but it happens, right? Hunter Renfrow did, Max Crosby did, right? It happens. And so with that, you got some next gen stats that kind of paint a picture that maybe they're not as bad as we thought they were. Because few people were harder on our O-line than you were last season, and all with good reason.
Yeah, I mean, it shows how they rank against other players in their position in the NFL. And it brings up, like you said, hey, maybe they're not as bad as we thought. There's a couple things missing, but it also shined a light on some things that we struggled with. So we'll start with Kolton Miller. Kolton Miller, and left tackles, you see right here, he won. So here's the next gen stat is win rate, right? The win rate, I took a look at it. It's can you sustain or win, quote unquote, win, like if you pancake somebody and move on. Can you win that block for 2.5 seconds? So basically, can you give your dynamic offensive player, which is either the quarterback or the running back for the offensive lineman, do you give them 2.5 seconds, right, of time to do what they're supposed to do? Do you win your block, right? So Kolton Miller at left tackle, 83% run block win rate, which was 31st out of left tackles.
There's only 32 teams.
Yeah, not good. He was 93% win rate in pass blocking, which was 5th, so very good. So he is categorized as a bad run blocker as left tackles go, but a good pass blocker as left tackles go. So we move on to his neighbor on the left guard, John Simpson. He was a 62% run block win rate, 30th out of left guards, 90% pass block win rate, which was 23rd, not that much better out of left guards. So out of those stats, he was considered a bad run blocker and a bad pass blocker.
And you can tell position matters because 90% at guard is terrible, whereas 93% at tackle is awesome because you're not going against Von Miller, right?
Right,
guard.
Yeah.
You're not going against these awesome edge rushers.
Yeah, that's why that 2.5 seconds is key because, I mean, some of these guys are so quick and strong and fast. 2.5 seconds is not possible. They're going to be by you. You can give your quarterback some time, but 2.5 seconds is just too much. So move on to center, Andre James, 78% run block win rate, which was 16th, so middle of the road for centers. 81% pass block win rate, which is 22nd. So by that account, he was a good run blocker, but a bad pass blocker.
And good run block is being generous.
That's I mean he's in the middle road. Yeah. Okay, Alex. Yeah, Alex Leatherwood. He was a 70% run block win rate, which was 13th out of right guards. 86% pass block win rate, and that was 28th out of guards. So here's one thing that you're going to have to take a look at here. We have one side of the line that is better at run blocking than pass blocking, and one side of the line that's better at pass blocking than run blocking. So Miller and Simpson were better at pass blocking than run blocking, but then James and Leatherwood were better at run blocking than pass. So you don't have a balanced line. If one side does one thing well, they don't do another.
The defense knows which side to attack.
For sure. Now here's an interesting thing about Alex Leatherwood because he did play plenty of snaps at right tackle. At right tackle, right? So he was. So before we move on, Leatherwood was considered a good run blocker, but a bad pass blocker, right? So let's move on to right tackle with Leatherwood. Leatherwood, this is terrible. He was 57% pass block win rate as a right tackle and 60% run block win rate as a right tackle, both dead last. He was the worst blocker no matter how you slice it at right tackle. So for all you guys saying, oh, he's just a rookie, he's this and that, and blah, 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 he was dead last in win rate in both passing and run blocking.
When Brandon Parker is a massive improvement on you.
Yeah, bro. You should not play right tackle. All right. Speaking of Brandon Parker, Brandon fucking Parker. All right. 78% run block win rate at right tackle, which is actually 7th. Right tackle, I guess. That's crazy. 75% pass block win rate, which was 14th at right tackle. So according to these stats, just at blocking win rate, Parker was considered a good run and pass blocker. The only one that was better than average in both categories on the line. It doesn't take into account a couple of things, penalties.
It doesn't take into account most things. And this is where again, like when it comes to PFF or ESPN Next Gen stats, there's a place for them. I'm glad they exist and you add it to the conversation. It isn't the conversation. So like I like PFF and Next Gen stats for like, oh, we just picked up this, unrestricted free agent backup right guard. I don't know anything about him. Let's look up his PFF, right? I don't have hours of tape on him. He hasn't been on the Raiders. I haven't seen him play. I can't tell you what he's about. I have nothing. So let me just see his PFF score. Okay, I've learned something about him. PFF and Next Gen, to me, like they're not useless for our own team, but it's like, maybe it'll give you an eye opener. Like, okay, here's one element of playing line is how long can you hold your block for 2.5 seconds? One element, right? That doesn't take into account if I was supposed to just, touch him and then move up. This doesn't take if, hey, I was supposed to be double teaming somebody. I'm supposed to be helping somebody. Am I blocking the right guy? Am I blocking the wrong guy? And it's only 2.5 seconds. Did I completely whiff? And the edge gets to the quarterback right away, or did I hold for 2.4 seconds and it's still and we're running a quick slant and it's still fine, right? It's one tiny sliver to evaluate, although absolutely it's a piece of information that's worth having.
Yeah, it does take into account a couple of things because it can go either way. Mm-hmm. Like if you have a low block win rate, it can be like you said, for example, you're not blocking the right guy, so you don't know the play, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, what is that? Okay, better coaching, more drilling, like, make sure that you get, you know who you're supposed to block, the situation. That's one thing. You could also not hold your block because you're physically not capable to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Your technique is bad. So if you're physically not capable to do it is one thing. If your technique is bad, you can fix your technique and maybe make that better. So that those are things that you can identify and then look at tape and then see for yourself in practice. Does he know the plays? Does he know where he's supposed to be? Is he blocking the right guy? Is his technique bad or he's just getting bowled over? One of the two, or one of a lot of different scenarios or possibilities. But it's very similar to like watching a combine for a draft prospect. You see these guys' skills. Okay, how do these skills relate to their game? How does it translate to the game film? So it gives you a good jumping off point. But if a guy is super fast, but he's not blown by anybody on the field, okay, he doesn't really translate that well to the field. Now you have to figure out why. Is he technique bad? Is he hesitant? Like what's going on? So it gives you kind of a jumping off point to kind of study further. But it was a little eye opening for me. I thought the fact that half the line did something well, the other half didn't do that one thing well. I mean, it kind of
does this make the line look better or worse than you thought before you saw these stats?
Worse in a way because there's really not any continuity. They don't. Yeah. There's two guys on one side that do something really well that the other side does poorly, and then vice versa. So, I mean, there's no wonder why we don't get a big push and run blocking because one side of the line can run block, the other side can't. One side of the line can pass block well, the other side can't. So it's difficult to build a game plan around that, knowing or if you don't have a lot of continuity, you can't hang your hat on something. Okay, you know what? Our line is great at run blocking, right? So even if we get in trouble, we can always rely on our run block. Well, we don't have that because some of the guys do it well and some of the guys don't.
I keep saying it, and I keep saying it slightly different every single week, but I think it bolds true. holds true. That Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, I think they're going young because they want continuity over 5 great individuals, right? I think what they're doing is, look, your run block win rate, it matters. It's something. It's not nothing. It's a good stat. I'm glad that we had that stat. But what's more important is, Simpson, are you communicating with Miller of what we're doing on this zone run to the left? That's more important. It's like, hey, Miller, I give you a little side eye, and you immediately know what that means because you've done this, you've ran this play together 100 times, and you know, hey, I'm going to move up to the next level and get the linebacker, or hey, hold that block a little bit while longer because I got to get around this end to get my seal block or whatever, right? That I think is more important than individual stats run, right? And again, they still matter, right? If you're 5 just a terrible people, even great continuity and great teamwork isn't going to save you if you can't just do a basic block on a nose tackle. But that's more what I care about, and that's more tape dependent than fumble recovery numbers or penalty numbers or whatever that is. It's how are you guys jiving together if we're going to keep you guys together for long term.
Yeah, it's definitely not the whole story. It's a part of it. It's a good jumping off point to look back and say, okay, well, this guy has technique issues doing X. How does that affect his overall ability to block in this sense? Okay, yeah, it translates. Now we see that he has bad technique here. We can fix that, right? Or this guy's getting bowled over on a pass rush. How often does that happen? You look at his pass per win rate and it's low. Okay, well, yeah, maybe it's not a technique issue. Maybe he's just not strong enough at the point of attack. Then we can, see what we can do to either fix that or maybe replace with someone else. It's a good place to look and engage and a piece of your research.
I think my biggest takeaway for this is that if it's just 5 individuals doing 5 individual things, we're fucked.
Yeah, right.
If it's simply like, all right, you 5 guys each do your own thing and block the guy in front of you, we're fucked. Like, they're just not that good. But if they're a cohesive unit that's executing a plan together, and you've got one of the best pre-snap guys in football, Derek Carr, directing them, and they're listening, they understand what's going on, they trust each other, they know what each other are doing, we'll be all right. But if it's just skill for skill, art tackles versus the AFC West edge rushers,
it's going to be rough.
Derek Carr's going to be in a cast by week 4. Congratulations for making it all the way to the end of our video. If you want Darren Waller to catch 20 touchdown passes next season and for Max Crosby to have 30 sacks, go ahead and subscribe and click the next video.